Welcome to Shoot Wisely, the Content Creators Podcast. I'm your host, Amir Brahimi. With over 25 years of production experience, as a documentarian, my cameras have taken me across this country and around this amazing world, capturing and telling stories. The Shoot Wisely podcast is a conversation with fellow storytellers with the goal to inspire. There are certain people you meet at very specific moments in time, moments that end up shaping more than you realize. I met today's guest, Tony Menias, in Oaxaca, Mexico, back in October 2020, when the world felt like it had come to a complete stop. We were both on assignment, navigating uncertainty, trying to make sense of what it meant to create during a time when everything felt up in the air. Tony's story is one that always stuck with me. He made the bold decision to walk away from a medical field, to fully commit to photography, not just as a passion, but as a way of life. Since the last time he joined me on the Shoot Wisely podcast, he's continued to carve out his path in travel photography and recently adding a TED Talk to his growing list of accomplishments, something that really speaks to the impact of his journey and perspective. In this conversation, we dive into what it looks like to pursue purpose over security, how to keep moving forward in a world that still feels unpredictable, and what it means to evolve, not just as a photographer, but as a person. This is a conversation about risk, resilience, and staying creatively alive when everything around you is shifting. This is our conversation. Tony, welcome back. I appreciate you coming back on the Shoot Wisely podcast. And always, I have to say that you were always the one that was like, hey, man, what happened to the podcast? What happened to the podcast? You got to keep the podcast going. So you were one of many, but you were the loudest, that's for sure. So I appreciate that.
I'm always the loudest. It's actually funny you say that.
The most consistent, let me say. The most consistent.
I'll take it. Thank you.
So Tony, 2019, tell me if I'm wrong. 2019, January 1st is when you decided to take off and you hit 12 countries.
Yes.
We're 6 years removed from that now.
Yes.
Looking back and having a little perspective, are you proud of yourself?
Oh my God. Yeah. I think 2019 was actually one of my best years. And it was because if you add that to the fact that, COVID came, everything kind of got halted for a bit. And it was good time because I was able to sit down and play with my work for the first time. So 2019 was a fantastic year for me. I mean, I was just at the height. I was also really hungry, really hungry to like get the shots that I wanted to get and get everything and travel and see and do. So yeah, pretty proud of 2019.
Last time I talked to you, you were kind of introducing yourself as a photographer, and now you're a well-established photographer,
I guess.
Well, I mean, you did. We're going to talk about your TED Talk. How has the creative process changed for you, or has it?
I mean, honestly, I think the creative process for me has kind of always been the same, but I think I'm just harsher on myself. The more I go, then that also it has its pros and its cons. Like you can always say that even the bad stuff that I did or I thought was bad back when, would still be good now. But I'm so like, no, this has to be amazing. This has to be perfect. This has to be whatever. So then maybe that also kind of has an effect on how I've been, creatively putting out my work like it once was, Other than that, I mean, if from 5-6 years ago till now, I mean, if you look at all the gear that I have now, because compared to then, I mean, the last time we did this interview, and also you can see on the back wall as well, that a lot has changed. And I am now working on 3 different screens and then a huge computer and the processing speeds and blah, blah, blah. And I used to just work on my little laptop and with my finger, like trying to do. And it's funny how that all changes, when you keep working as hard as you can. But then almost I feel like I wish I could go back to that time where I was like this hungry little, guy trying to like work so hard to get where I'm at. And now I have all these things. I'm like, maybe I should try to like go back to a simpler time as well, So it's interesting. It's interesting.
And you've shown your work quite a bit. You've been in a lot of shows. And tell me how the TED Talk came about.
So I do, again, so like as you said, I do a lot of art shows. And I would say since then, I mean, it's been 3 or 4, 5 shows a year. And it was around 2023, I did an art show. And one of the directors of TED came in to talk to me about my work and my life, but I had no idea who they were. I just thought it was just another person that came in, and I don't know, they loved my story so much. And not till a year and a half later, or
Wow.
almost 2 years, they've been following me, seeing me they saw my travels, what I've been doing, where I've been going, and, that's when they said,
A professional vet.
yeah, right, they had to vet, man, they gotta make sure that everything and they watched everything, and they finally invited me, and I didn't know, I had no idea, and then I looked at the person like, "Wait, that was the person that was in my," you know what I mean? Like, they were in my booth, and I had no idea, but, yeah, I was just talking, doing my thing, telling
What
them.
I mean, whenever I see a TED talk, I always think like, God, that looks so nerve wracking.
It's crazy, dude. It's actually a crazy process. They first of all, the whole thing's memorized. You have to know
Enlightenment.
every single word when you're up there.
Not the grand cosmic kind, but the quiet realization that I was exactly where I was meant to be.
And they don't give you any prompting. There's no screen in front of you. You got to figure this all out on your own. And yes, it's very, very nerve-wracking, but they let you know, I want to say, I would say about 4 or 5 months in advance to find out. But you also have to come up with a speech. You also have to figure out what you're going to talk about and all these other things. So then, yeah, it's a very nerve-wracking experience, but I think the sooner you get to practice, the better. And, but I always postpone and procrastinate a lot of things. So it did take me a long time to get there, but near the end, it came out perfect. So, I mean, I did miss a couple lines, but that's on me.
Did they? Was there like a rehearsal where you had to prove to them that you got this?
There was one rehearsal. There was 2 rehearsals. There was one that was like maybe a week or 2 before. And that's just, they wanted to see, what was happening. And then the second one was the actual dress rehearsal, which was the day before. So 2, but then I also rehearsed with almost all of my friends that I had. I was just like, okay, I'm coming to your house. I'm coming to your house. I'm coming to your place. You guys come over here, and I had to do it in front of so many people as possible and practice it in different places as much as possible so I can be very comfortable. So yeah, very intense.
And what are some of the benefits that have come out of that? Like maybe connections or just
I mean, so far, lots
confidence?
of connections, yes. But I have yet to I guess for me, I think I've yet to really just cash in on it. I just kind of want to. I'll use it. It's just like the National Geographic thing. It's also like the Time Magazine thing. Like, I have it under my name, and
What's the
then that's
National Geographic thing? What's the National Geographic thing?
what's the National Geographic thing.
You
Did we
were
not talk about this the last talk that we had?
No, I don't think so.
So in 2018, I won an award for the photo of they chose one of my photos as one of their editorial picks.
Wow.
So this is how I got started. Did I talk about this last time?
No, I rewatched our podcast.
So yeah, in 2018, I submitted this photo to a contest and I won the contest, and that's why it's got National Geographic. And then I won again in 2021, or was it 2022? It was one of those years, and that allowed me to have National Geographic under my name because it's like, okay, I won these 2 awards. I'm part of this group now, quote unquote. Even though it's not like they call me and be like, "Hey, come shoot for us." No, that has not happened. But
right.
yeah, that was before I met you. That was that happened around then. And then Time Magazine was a whole nother story. That was like during the NFT craze. That's when there was I happened to be working with
So
the
2021,
president
2022?
yeah, around that time. And it was working with the president of Time Magazine at the time. And me and a lot of other photographers. And so we had our work displayed at this Time Magazine and National Geographic event. Actually, it was kind of interesting. That happened in Art Basel in Miami.
Mm.
And so my work was displayed with them. So now I have Time Magazine under my name. So now there's these things that I have these accolades, right? But it's not like, I don't know how they're there, dude, but you're the one who has to put in the work to be like, you just don't show up out of nowhere. Do you know how many other people get, you just have
but
that
it's all validation of your work. I mean, it's
right.
people
That's
celebrating
all it
your
is
work.
at the end of the day. It's just
That's pretty huge, though.
It is. And that's the thing. Like, I think the connections are coming in slowly. But again, I do this thing where I just get up and I leave. I'm like, okay, bye. I'm going
Right.
traveling. I'll see you
Right.
later. And I think this is the first time in a while that I said, okay, you know what? And even though I went to Morocco in October and I went to Egypt and then, I just got back from Thailand and Malaysia in like a couple of weeks ago. So it's like, I think this next season of time, I say from now, starting in April, when I'm doing all these art shows, I have two art shows in April. And then the rest of the summer, I'm doing like 9 more, which is crazy. A lot more than I usually do. I will be marketing myself more and getting that name out that, TED speaker, so on and so on. Because when I did the last show in last September, I had another friend in my booth. He was the one who was telling other people that came in my booth. He's doing a TED Talk. He's doing a TED Talk. He's doing a TED Talk. And I don't know why I do this to myself. I maybe it's like a, what is it called? Like a imposter syndrome, where you just like hear that, I have these accolades, but I don't like shove it in people's faces. It's just like I have them and I'm proud of myself. But, there's always other people around me. He's like, do you know he's doing a TED Talk? Do you know he did a TED Talk? And like, I'll be at a dog park with people that I know from my building. And there'll be random people that we met at a dog park. And like, do you know he did a TED Talk? And I'm like, I'm not telling anybody these things.
It sounds better coming from someone else.
Huh?
It sounds better coming from
It does
someone
sound
else.
better, but I don't ask them to do it, right? They do it. And it's definitely like, I'd rather have it like printed somewhere in my booth instead of it being like, hey, I did a TED Talk. It's just too much. I think I don't know why I go through life in a very humble, quote unquote humble way, but I try to, at least,
Yeah.
So yeah.
So travel, movement, interaction with other people is such a big part of your life and what you do.
Yeah.
Maybe you can explain what happened in the Galapagos Islands and how that, how you kind of, what transpired after that and how you got through that.
So October of 2023, I went to the Galapagos Islands to, photograph, enjoy myself and see something new. And I had an opportunity to go. And so I went. And then the second day that I get there, actually, I got there the night before. The next morning I went on a dive. Okay. So I went to Quito for a day, and then I allowed myself to get to Galapagos. It takes a while to get to one space to another. And the next day I go on a dive. I do my dives, which was great. It was wonderful. It was beautiful. And I'm glad I did it. But when I got back when I got back onto the boat was super rocky. And I kept going up and down, up and down, up and down. And I'm on one side and they were still pulling people up from the dive. And the next thing you know, the boat just goes down and I'm literally floating in the air. And the next thing you know, pop, came back up. I'm on the ground. My leg breaks. And I'm like screaming in agony and pain. And that put me out for like 6 months or so. So
Wow.
it kind of had a pretty negative effect on my photography and my, life outlook and stuff like that. So yeah, it was very, very intense little time for me.
Because one would say, oh, you have a lot of time to edit. Maybe put a book together.
Dude, you think you would, but I was just I think I was also like in that weird space and also in that time. And again, this was October. So don't forget, October 2023 was the whole Gaza thing too.
Yeah.
So then also myself as well. And like these two things were combining.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm just like, okay, the world's on fire, and you're watching all this stuff on and then you look at it, I'm like, oh, why do I need to work on anything right now? And I didn't even want to I edited some, don't get me wrong. Like I would look at them. I even called some images.
Yeah.
From like previous stuff, but I didn't, I rather just, I don't know, turn my mind off. I wanted to turn my mind off,
Yeah.
And so that really had an effect on everything. Like it was just, I was going through this state where I didn't know what I was going to do. Am I going to be able to keep walking? And of course, this happened to me while I was traveling, which is one of my favorite things to do. Right.
Yeah.
And so it was a kick in the face, you know? It felt like, okay, what are you going to do about your life? Are you going to continue doing this photography thing? Are you going to keep doing this traveling thing? You know, maybe I'm supposed to slow down. And, you know, that's usually a sign, right? Usually I believe in that kind of stuff. It's just like you need to slow down.
Yeah.
And so I did. Maybe I slowed down a little too much, but you know, it came to a point where I was asking myself, what am I going to do the next couple of years? And it was a quote unquote existential crisis kind of situation.
Yeah. I mean, you know, this isn't a political podcast, but we kind of touched on this yesterday when you and I were catching up.
Yeah.
Um, you know, for me, you know, for us, you know, social media is such a promotional tool for us, and you know, you kind of have to keep telling people what you do and reminding people what you do.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, for promotion, to make connections, to reach new people, to get
Right.
hired. Um, and when that falls by the wayside, you know, people start following other people, or they start, you know, they kind of forget about you. But you know, the state of the world, the last, you know, since you know, October 7th,
Yeah.
you know, anytime you open up your social media, it's just a complete, you get inundated with
Yeah. Just too much. Just
it's just all this,
violence and
yeah,
sadness,
violence and
sadness and
destruction. And
fire and life. Yeah.
so you feel kind of silly posting
Yes.
anything, you know,
Yes.
and I suffered from that greatly, and it sounds like you were suffering from that as well.
I'm
How,
still
h-
suffering from it, man. Still haven't,
yeah, I mean,
like, I
to
just
this
haven't,
day.
and I haven't posted in like 3 months.
So how are you navigating that?
I don't know, man. I think the problem is this, is that, there's a lot going on now with these phones, and the first of all, the dead scrolling is one thing, right? Because then you
Yeah,
can catch yourself dead scrolling. Next thing you know, 3 hours later, and you're like, where did the time go?
yeah,
Um, so that's one thing. I was like, I'll try to get off my phone, right? So,
yeah,
one, I didn't want to dead scroll. Two, I don't want to see. And I know this is like, it's hard to, you should see, but then you shouldn't see, right? It's like I don't want to. I understand what the pain is that's going, but it's like when it's too much, I start to feel all of it, and then I can't do anything,
yeah,
and the world needs to turn. You know what I mean? Like, and I think we discussed this yesterday. Like back in the '90s and the 2000s, we didn't, the news came on, and you weren't, you didn't see everything live, people getting killed, people on this. It was, you didn't see it, right? So you were
yeah,
able to still live and do and keep going, right?
yeah,
And the crazy thing is that people that are in war there are also still living and doing and working.
yeah,
They still got to do what they have to do, right? And so it's crazy how much of that effect that has on you as a person when you're watching these things. You also fall into this very depressive state. And so it's hard to post, especially when the world is hurting, and it's like, here's some art. And I know that it's beautiful to look at art every once in a while, but in deep inside, it's like, um, I can still make art for myself. I can still see, look at it, but if it's, I don't know, this whole, just throwing it out there for, on Instagram or whatever, it kind of, I feel less inclined to do so. Um, and I feel like the people that keep on pushing, and now there's this thing with photographers, especially now, because you have to make reels and videos and so on and so on. And that's more difficult to do. But like, I see you have, like, if you have a podcast like yourself, this is easier for you because you have video to do and so on
yeah,
and so on. But like for photography, now you have these guys, everyone's doing carousels, and you do like 8 to 10 photos. And it's like, after a while, you post 8 photos, 6 photos every single day, or 3 days a week, or 4 days a week. I mean, sooner or later, your work is going to look mediocre unless you
yeah,
start reposting older stuff from before.
right,
And so it starts to take a toll on your work as a creative and so on and so on, because now you're becoming a content creator just to
right,
throw content, just to get people's faces. And I think there's something very inherently wrong with that.
yeah,
Yeah. So how am I navigating it? I'm not navigating it. I'm parked.
yeah,
I'm parked for now. And that's what I'm going to do for the time being until, especially now, like here we go. And then all these other things came out. Obviously files, the war in Iran. I mean, it's intense, man. I'm going to take a break, and then I'm going to work on this, on the, you know, being present with people and, doing these art shows, and like that way I can have these conversations with people, and I think it's better in my opinion that way, in that regard, at least.
It's interesting because it's like if you're a mechanic or you sell aluminum siding, you don't like stop because the world is going through what it's going through. I mean, you still
Right.
have to make money, and this is what we do
Right.
to make money.
Yeah.
So it's whether or not we have a human connection. I mean, doctors, counselors have a human connection too, but I'm finding more and more that I don't want to have any conversations with anybody about this because it's like
Mm.
it's either I'm trying to change your mind, which is not gonna happen, or
Yeah.
we're just kind of in this silo together saying like, "Hey, isn't everything messed up?" "Yeah, it sure is, God."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't it's not I
It's
don't
not conducive to anything good, at the end of the day.
yeah, and I don't wanna
Yeah.
pull the wool over my eyes or just, pretend like nothing is happening because it's
Yeah.
just like every single day it's happening. It seems to get worse and worse. But I just don't wanna be paralyzed. And because everything that so much of what I do is a flow state, and I know people talk about flow state, but it's serious for me. Like
Yeah.
I get into a state, and
Yeah.
then I can continually like I'm motivated.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I constantly am. It's just heavy.
It is
It's
heavy, man.
heavy. And then like I have a 5-year-old daughter, so I don't even want her. Even if I could talk to her about this, I wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
So you kind of you constantly have to. Um, I don't know, like, you turn on your phone, you see something, and then you look at your daughter, and you just have to, like, smile and pretend like everything is alright?
Yeah, I think you have to at that point in time, because now you're working for her future as well, right? Like, this is like, you got to, right? You have to have that. This is like what every male probably has to go through, or parent has to go through in general when they're bringing up children, right? Like,
Yeah,
imagine like people bringing up kids in World War II. I mean, or anything like,
yeah,
just, you have to like be that strong person in that. So, and and that's why it's great in your regard. And like, I feel like I don't have that, so I'm just like, fuck it, like,
yeah,
it's probably good that you have that hope, right? Because that's that beauty of it, because there's that hope for her, right? Like,
yeah,
you give her that hope as well, and that's the beauty in it, I think.
yeah. Um, so what are you working on now?
Honestly, dude, I have, since that time in 2023. I mean, I've traveled a bunch, and I probably have a good 3 years of work that I barely have posted, or
Right.
barely have touched. So many travels that I've gone to, and so since then, we left. I went back to my homeland. I went back to Egypt for the first time.
Oh, wow.
Took two good friends with me.
And the last time you were there was the revolution.
The last time I was there was I mean, I went back in like
Oh,
2016, but that was, not as I hasn't gone back as a photographer.
right.
I had no I went to the revolution, and then I had my friend's wedding in 2016. That's that right after that trip, that Morocco trip that I had. I had Morocco, and then I went to Egypt for my friend's wedding. I still had that small point and shoot, but I didn't go back till 2021. So November of 2021 is when I went. And I went on. It was a nice trip, and man, I was really happy to go back and capture. I also didn't want to go back to Egypt until I was good at what I was doing. Like, I wanted to like give it a, you know, fair due.
Yeah,
I wanted to be like that fantastic photographer, showcasing my country in the way that it does. And so, yeah, and I've been back a couple of times since then, to be honest. So I went back in 2021, and then I went again in 2023. And then I was just there last year. And so I'm trying to like get more work every time I go, and go to different places every time I go. And I'm going again in May for my cousin's wedding. And so now that that's happening, I'm also going to go there and shoot too. So I will probably be working on something that will be very Egypt focused.
Right.
As
Beautiful.
of now, there's a dinner series that I'm working on with some people, where what we do is have these very immersive experiences with chefs from around the world who'll be making meals that are basically inspired by the photos that I take in those countries.
Wow.
Yeah, we did talk about this yesterday. My bad.
I'm glad you kept this in your back pocket.
Yeah, there was a
Is there a name? Is there what is it called? Something?
the next one's called Iftah Ya Simpson, which is basically my buddy of mine who happens to be a Egyptian chef.
Mm.
His name is Ashraf. He's a cool dude, and we met back years ago. And then I actually met this other guy who's a creative director, and he's the one who put this idea together. He's like, dude, I love it. I randomly met him one day. He's like, dude, I love your work. He's like, how can we get more people to see it? I'm like, you tell me. You're the creative director. And he's like, well, I've been working on these dinner series with chefs. So he helps them also get out there. He does these immersive experiences with dinners. I said, well, how can we do something with photography? Do you think we can make something happen? He's like, hell yeah. Why can't we? So last year we started getting into a discussion about these things, and hopefully we'll be doing something in this upcoming year around the spring and summer, where I will have my photographs all around. We will having the food that's going to be served according to, the place there. And of course, the first one's going to be Egypt because that's my country. And I think that would be a good thing. There'll be smells, there'll be music, there'll be, and there'll be little postcards for each guest. And it's a whole pay thing. You got to pay for it. And so it's like a nice, beautiful dinner experience. Right. And so what happens is you take these postcards home, and each postcard is for each dish that comes out will inspire the dish that comes out. So very cool stuff that we're working on.
I love it, man. Sounds like a Netflix series.
It sounds fun. I don't know. That's interesting. Let's, hey, come through.
So it's basically regional. So you're going to be showing your images from Egypt, and it's going to be Egyptian cuisine.
Yeah, I think it'd be too ridiculous to be. I
love that idea.
I don't know yet about. I would like to at least get those down first. Like, I would love to work with an Indian chef as well, because I've been to India twice already,
right.
And it's like, I mean, the food there is fantastic in itself, right? And I think if I work with a chef here, that'd also be very cool. It all depends. Like, I'd like to work with different chefs around the world, and we're having some, like, we're gonna try this Egyptian one first. You go from there. So that's what we're working on. And other than that, then it's the art shows and then hopefully a book. But again, it all depends on how this world is. But yeah.
Yeah. I love that, man. I love that.
I'm excited too.
So I wanted to kind of just touch on like the finance of it. Like how is it are you doing portraits on the sides? Are you doing weddings? Or is it solely just relying on prints?
I am doing everything. And I do. You actually, the funny thing is the two biggest money makers that I have coming in are wedding proposals.
Oh, proposals, not actual weddings.
Yeah, proposals.
That's better.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's actually my favorite. And I love it because it's actually the most genuine, emotional thing I ever catch every single time. And it's all a surprise. So it's like, these girls have no idea, that and so everything's really emotional. Engagement shoots, they're a little extra because, then they smile, babe, you gotta just smile. And then it turns into this whole thing. And it just, it's not always as genuine as it is, unless I remind them sometimes, like, hey, like, how'd you guys meet? And that usually brings them back to a time. But proposals are big. I do a lot of those.
If you think about the whole wedding process or getting married, the proposal is probably the best part.
It is.
It's the happiest.
I'll tell you what,
the weddings most optimistic.
Right. Exactly. There's a beautiful, beautiful thing about it. The weddings make the most money, but then it's a process. And I've done a couple of weddings and I enjoy doing them. But I'd never want to be known as Tony the wedding photographer. I just want to be Tony the photographer who can do many, many, many things.
Yeah.
And this will go into number 2, which is during the pandemic, I was being hired by DoorDash to take pictures of restaurant food so they can put them on their menus. And so since then, that's been blowing up, and I've just been doing a lot of food photography. And then I've also, gained a good amount of weight because of that too, because the food's free pretty much after that. And so you get paid and you get food. And so a lot of food photography has been a thing that I've been doing. So the proposals and the couples and the babies and the weddings and so on and so on. And that's one thing. And then,
can I ask you how the proposal came about? I've never even heard of that. Like people hiring a photographer. Usually it's like, oh, like hold this iPhone because I'm about to propose.
Dude,
that's a great idea.
There is a whole thing for it. Like it is okay. There are guys that go all the way. They go extra. They'll have like, then there's packages, which I've done, which is like, you can get like the signage says "Marry Me." There's candles and there's the red carpet and there's roses on the floor and a whole thing. And of course, they want that photographed. If they're going to be as extra as is, they're going to have a photographer.
Yeah,
I've even had one of my friends work with me to have a drone footage come through, and you do as much as you can because these people want to. There's these guys that I've worked with where they rent out this. I don't want to call it a gazebo. It's something that's on top of one of the buildings, and it's got this beautiful arch situation that kind of looks like a gazebo. And they pay $1,000 to rent that. Just $1,000 just to rent the space, just to propose. Right. Which I think is absurd, right? Like it's supposed to be like in my head, it's a very intimate experience and so on and so on. But yeah, guys will go all out and it turns into a thing. And then every girl wants, and this is the thing, it's not a guy thing, it's a girl thing.
Yeah.
This is what the girl wants. The girl wants to show these other girls, hey, look what my man did. I want this big experience. I want this big thing. And they always want to have this, showing off experience, I guess. There's other girls who obviously don't want that. And that I've done a lot of those shoots as well because it's for them.
Yeah.
It's very intimate experiences, but like the rest of them are grand.
Yeah. It's usually two things. It's like, what does the ring look like and how did he propose?
Yes. Surprisingly, there's a lot of the girls who are like, they'll stare at this for like, oh my God, they'll stare at it for like 10 minutes. There's girls that don't even look at it at all. Yeah. So it's really interesting. And it really works with my, my background in psychiatry and so on, where I'm like looking at these people and I'm really just taking in how people act.
Yeah.
Or how people are when they, when this is happening. I love watching these girls. I'm like, okay, what is happening? Like, how are you reacting to this? I've seen women, come back, like he'll propose and she'll go down on her knees with him, which I love. That's like my favorite. Like when I see that, I'm like, that's a beautiful woman right there. She's coming down and like meeting him,
Yeah.
Otherwise like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And there's that too. And then there's ones that show off the rings. It's a whole nother thing at all. It's just really interesting to take in, the variety of people and like almost kind of like studying them in my head. I'm just like, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah.
So is it like a word of mouth thing? Because how do you even promote something like that?
Oh, I'm online. I'm on Google. That's actually really hilariously enough. I just got awarded the best photographer in my area in the city. Yeah, that was crazy.
By Google?
Yes, by Google.
That's amazing, man.
Yes.
In the Google searches, you're going to own that.
Where is that? Hold on. Yeah. What does it say? Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's going to focus or not, but yeah, I can.
I'll
send it to you later. Yeah, dude, I got best photographer, best of 2026, business today, Google, blah, 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 blah. So,
that's amazing, man.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels active. It feels good. So I do that.
How do you think that? Do you think you became from reviews or?
No, my reviews.
Yeah.
Yeah. People work with me and they just like work. I'm easy, man. I'm an easy person. I've worked with you. What's up. Like I'm an easygoing person. I'm just like, all right. And they also like, if you read the reviews, it's like, Tony's hilarious. He's really funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it makes it ease. We're at ease with him, and it's because I keep people,
sure,
like relaxed.
You're Tony.
Yeah, exactly.
Going back to the food, like I shot for a couple restaurants. One of the restaurants unfortunately went under, but I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it,
Yeah.
especially when they want me to kind of capture photography for their website.
Yeah.
So I can kind of like document a little bit, but then also shoot the food. I
Yes.
love it. And I mean, I love food, and it's great because they can't take the food back, right?
No,
Like, so they bring the food out and they're like, all right, eat it.
They shouldn't. I've had people who have. I'm like, dude, I just touched this. Like, why are you taking it? It's like,
yeah. And then they usually want you to, they got to pour some wine and stuff. So it's like, you just,
yes.
it's for me, it's like, I don't even feel like I'm working because I love
No.
taking pictures anyways. And if you're going to bring out literally every dish that you
Yes.
make
Yes.
and, complement it with, the pairing wine or the cocktail that goes
Yes.
with it.
Yes. Can't get mad at it, bro.
No,
It's an enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
No, and no. Food's on the table, some drinks are on the table, and then they, have you come back every once in a while too. Like, I work with a couple of hotels, and it's been nice. It's been nice. They just bring you back, and they have lots and lots and lots and lots of food. And then they bring my favorite part is they actually would bring down the whole team, and then everybody will eat. Yeah.
I think yesterday you told me that you were in over 10 shows this year.
Yeah, probably around 12 to 13. So I have two. I always do my favorite show, which is Old Town here in Chicago, which is the second oldest art show in the United States.
Wow.
Which is crazy. The first art show, actually, they're both in Chicago. The first and the second oldest art shows in the United States are in Chicago.
Interesting.
Isn't that crazy?
I would have
never
never guessed
realized that until later. So one is the 57th Street, where Obama's from, like Hyde Park, like where the old. It's actually where one of the art fairs, like the art fairs, not the art fairs, the world fairs, back in like the 30s and the 20s and so on. So the art fairs are not the world fairs used to be out there in that area. And so I think maybe it came from out that time, in that time frame. But that's the first one. And I'll be doing the second one, which is the Old Town Art Fair, which is it's amazing fair. It's great.
And can I ask you, do you apply, or do they approach you?
You have to apply. You have to apply every single time too, which is very annoying, but you got to apply. You have to show them your work. You have to show them what your booth would look like. Usually you would have to, especially with the ones now that in the summertime in Chicago, most of them are tented. So you have to
you get a booth.
Oh, I buy them. You get a parking space. That's what you get. You get a space, and then you bring your own tent. You bring your own walls. You bring your own lighting. You bring your own, it's a whole experience. And then there's ones that I do inside, which is a little bit different. Then you pay for a booth, which is they provide the walls, they provide the lighting. Sometimes you have to bring extra lighting, but they do all the marketing, which is fantastic. So you just have to show up and put your work up and, do your thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, dude. It's great. And then you get to like display. And the thing is, there's nothing more beautiful than seeing your work in print, right? Like when you eat, is that your stuff in the back?
This is my brother here. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's, you see your work and you're like, wow, this is nice. And so you're like, and then you wonder, and then you ask yourself, you're like, wonder if people would love it too. And they do.
Yeah.
So you get to put it up and then you get to see how much it sells. And then the year after that, you're like, let me see if I can increase the prices to see if they'll take it. And they do, because they freaking love it.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel good. And so I know that my work is worth something. Right.
Yeah.
And so I continue to play with that as long as I can to see where I can go. And this is also probably what I probably do edit is I look for work that I know people would want to take home or gift to other people.
I've never been to Israel or Palestine, and I didn't know that you had been to both. Can you,
Yes.
without
3 times actually. Yeah.
Without getting, actually, no, get into it as much as you want. I was going to say without getting into the emotion of it, but what does that even mean? Can you tell us about your experience, as a photographer and as a person of humanity, like just going into those places and capturing?
I mean, it's interesting to.
What years exactly? Because that could
So
help.
I went in 2019 was one of those years.
Wow.
So I went in 2019, but see that back then it wasn't compared to what we saw in 2023. It's been in the news since God knows when, since the 40s, right?
Yeah.
So it's always this ongoing annoyingness, but like nothing was like 2023, but they just literally just leveled down. Gaza.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
West Bank is where I spent most of the time. I didn't hit into Gaza because Gaza has always been a very unsafe place for tourists to go.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't recommend you going. But West Bank is where I went. I went to Bethlehem. I went to where Jesus was born. I'm like going to places where, like holy sites. And then, of course, I went to go see the wall. And then, which is this gigantic, dude, that was the craziest thing I think I had to deal with. It was how big this wall was and like how dividing it was and how the stories I was hearing. I went to a refugee camp too, because I had to understand, where did this come from? How are these people still living out here? And then also I went to this Banksy hotel. So if you know Banksy, he's like, very, he's been a
Where's the
fighter
Banksy Hotel?
in Palestine.
What?
Yeah. So
How did I not know about this?
it's a thing. It's like either you know or you don't know, but Banksy is a very big person for Palestine. I think he's an advocate for Palestine.
The hotel with the worst view in the world, and also the latest artwork by street artist Banksy. The chimpanzee bellboy stands at the entrance to the walled-off hotel in the Palestinian city of Bethlehem, where just metres from its doors is the concrete wall Israel has built in parts of the occupied West Bank.
I mean, is it still there?
Yes, it is still there. And it's hilarious. It's actually called the Walled Off Hotel, not the Waldorf, but the Walled Off.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's it's called the hotel with the worst view in the world, which is right in front of the wall. And then it's in itself, it's an art piece, and all the money goes back to the Palestinians. So anyone that stays there, all the money goes there. Anybody that works there is Palestinian as well.
And that's probably why I've never heard of it.
And it's right on the wall. It's amazing. I've actually bought some art pieces from there because I was like, wait, I'm in a Banksy hotel. I can buy art pieces from there.
And is it like a major discount because you made it there?
I mean, it's cheaper. It's cheaper. It's much cheaper. Absolutely. Because you
It's like,
actually went all
bravo.
the way out there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing.
It's a very cool place. And it's, but the thing is that Palestine is, the people are living, right? They're living, they're doing what they need to do, but they are under constant surveillance. They're on constant, they're always being like asked for identification. They have to go through these, these
checkpoints.
Yes. And just being constantly bothered is what I like to say. And it was a very weird experience for me. Like I couldn't wrap my head around it. Like, cause there's people that lived there who were refugees who got kicked out of their own areas. So Israel can do its thing. And then they put them in this area. So they're like, hey, when we're done, we can put you back. But they never did that.
Yeah.
And they just left them there. And now these people don't have papers. They don't have IDs because they never had their own real, they don't have their own address. They don't have their own space. They don't have nothing. And those people can never leave, ever.
Yeah.
But there are other Palestinians that can, right? But the refugees can't.
Yeah.
So like there was people in Haifa, which was like a place up north, which is the place that I was really nice to see. There's like, it's in Israel and there's a lot of Palestinians and they live together in harmony. But there's other areas obviously that were destroyed. And that's where all the problems are because you've taken them from their homes. And then you get to another area where they have these settlements in the West Bank and they're just building in the area that they said they would not build in. So it's like they're not respecting this situation. And it was a very, very eye-opening experience, man. And the wall in itself was intense. And you could see that the guards that sit up on top of the watchtowers, they would pee into bottles and throw it into the Palestinian side. And it's just like no respects, man, for these people. It's really shitty.
How were you treated on either side?
I was treated fine on either side because I'm ambiguously looking.
Yeah.
But I will say,
were you stopped for your papers?
Israelis are number one. I think one of the rudest people that I think I've dealt with, other than like Chinese people. But like, very rude, and they're rude to each other. It's not just rude to us; they're rude to each other. And I asked a buddy of mine who's Israeli, And I met him in India, actually. He was a good friend of mine. And we're at the beach, and I said, and I went to a party out in Tel Aviv, because that's what Tel Aviv is all about. It's a lot of partying and a good time and good food and, drinks and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, dude, what's up with the rudeness? He's like, oh, it's a rat race out here. He's like, everyone is, we're always, what did he say? He said, we're always trying to get on top of one another. So that's why everyone's rude to one another. I'm like, why though? He's like, that's just the way we are.
So everybody's entitled.
Yeah. It was really like sad to hear that. I was just like, why aren't you just nice? Just be nice to each other. There's nothing wrong with just a little niceness, I'm at a party, for God's sakes. Why are you guys pushing each other around? Like, it's like,
Yeah.
It
wasn't Oaxaca.
No, definitely not Oaxaca.
But were you ever, nobody ever stopped you for papers, or do you move pretty freely around Israel?
Yes. Yeah. Israel's easy, man. Israel, the funny thing is, like, when you're on that side, it's like you're in the States.
Right.
No one's bothering you. But it's the other side. They don't want, dude. So there's parts of Palestine that are occupied, right? Actually, most of it's occupied. So they have like 3 different levels. They have levels A, B, and C. And, and I'm probably going to get this wrong, but there are levels of how involved the Israeli government is on the Palestinian side. So I believe C or B is when they go and they take care of their garbage, they take care of their things, and so on and so on, but they just leave it there. All the garbage, it's still very, like, the garbage is everywhere. No one's picking it up. And there's other times where they take care of all the other municipality things. But we should have to look it up, because it's been a while since I
It's all good.
get through the whole thing. But that's the side that's a little bit, they're both safe. They're both good. It's just one you could tell is much poorer than the other. One has got a lot more money, a lot more taken care of. It looks like Tel Aviv looked like a 1950s Miami.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it felt like. And Palestine was gorgeous. I think the hills in Palestine are beautiful, I'd have to say. A lot of green, very beautiful stuff. The olive trees, all that stuff, the dates. I don't know. It's nice, man.
Have you ever thought about, or have you had a show displaying the work from both sides?
I posted a bunch about it.
Yeah.
Did I actually have? No.
Be pretty divisive right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And looking back, how do you feel about what you captured?
What do you mean?
Did you feel like you captured like the reality of the situation, or did you feel like?
I think one of the years I did. I think I had more time. So the thing is, when I'd been to Israel and Palestine because I was actually leading groups of people to go as a religious trip.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
So my mother is
Which
a travel
religion?
agent. Huh?
What religion?
Christianity.
Uh-huh.
So basically, I would have, it's, birthplace of Jesus, right? So you would follow his steps of where he would go, and, these kinds of things.
But Israelis aren't really happy about that, though, right? Isn't that kind of you walking in there with a bunch of Christians? They're not like, I mean, excuse my ignorance, but I would think they wouldn't be so.
It depends where you are. Got it. Tel Aviv doesn't care. Tel Aviv is a liberal city.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go to Jerusalem, it gets a little weird. It's a little space, but then everybody out, it's nonstop. Like, it is filled with people all over the world, Christians from all over the world coming in to go see these sites. It is packed all the time. So they know that they are there. It's probably the, now they're usually very nice. I think there's some times where you if you end up in their areas, like we went to the Wailing Wall I have to go look at this Wailing Wall. I got to see what I'm in their country, right? Like I also need to know their culture, their understandings. And this is how I travel, right? Like I don't just like do my own thing. And no, I got to see what, what the Jews do. I mean, Jesus was a Jew. I got to see what's happening, right?
Yeah.
So, you could see that they're all like trying to understand why we're even there in the first place. Like, why? And then sometimes we have discussions, and sometimes you could tell they're looking at us like what are you doing here? And
Right.
we don't want you here. And there's other people who are just genuinely curious. I mean, it's just like, just like any other human,
Yeah.
some curious people are like, oh, what are you doing here? It's just all depends.
Yeah.
And this is during peacetime, right? No one's looking at you funny. But there's, again, they're always worried about who's coming in or who's coming around. You could tell if you look too Arab, it was an issue. Egyptians were kind of like mixed. We all kind of look very different. So
Yeah.
like I had people next to me who were, there's a lot of Egyptians that people don't know. There's a lot of Egyptians who are redheaded and have freckles. So it's like we range. So
Yeah.
when I'm with all these people, you could tell I'm with a group of people and we're like coming just to have an understanding, So yeah, I used to take people on these trips. So it was, what I was trying to do was when I had breaks from the groups, I would go off on my own. And I also would take, there was one year where I made it very specific that I had people come with me to go see the wall.
Mhm.
I was like, we're going to go take a tour. I'm going to show you guys the whole history of this wall and, the refugees and so on and so on and so on. So, but the other years I couldn't. So just because the population I was taking around was a little old. So they weren't into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think I do have a lot of photos of the wall and stuff like that. But then again, it's a peacetime. It's not,
Yeah.
you can only show, and in my opinion and how I do things, you see my work. I don't show sadness.
Yeah.
And I have a hard time doing that,
Yeah.
It's like, I want to see the goodness in the world. And then maybe this is why I had trouble going through my work. And especially when, so much crap was going on in the world that I wanted to see the good things. And it was really hard for even me to do that,
Yeah.
So I think that's, it was very, I think I posted a couple times during those 2 years of just photos of Palestine and just like the beauty of it, that kind of situation. And of course, also some pictures of the wall as well. But yeah, that was as max as I can go,
Yeah.
Like no one's actually, they were still living, they're still eating, they're still doing, they're still shopping, they're still whatever, but it's on a lesser thing than on the other side, but they're still living. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me, let's see, I think it was 2003, maybe 2003, 2004. I went to Iran for the first time with my dad, and like 2 years earlier, my brother went to Iran with my dad, and he was photographing. And my dad kept telling, it was a lot different back then in Iran. And my dad kept telling him, hey, you got to be careful what you shoot. You got to be careful what you shoot. And one night, I guess Iran beat Iraq in a soccer game. And right outside the hotel, they were like celebrating. And my brother went out and videotaped them. And long story short, he disappeared for like 12 days. And my dad didn't know where he was. And they picked him up and he was in jail and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's a long, treacherous story, but he finally got out. So fast forward to 2 years later, I'm going to Iran and my dad's like, gotta be careful taking pictures. I'm like 100%.
Yeah. Now because
Yeah.
you live, you learn, right?
Yeah. But so I took a picture of this. We were in this square and I took a picture of this guy that was collecting broken glass. It's like a thing that they do. They break more glass, they put it all together. And I took what I thought was a beautiful picture of him. And the guy starts talking to my dad. And it's not like the softest language, so it kind of sounds like everybody's arguing. So I didn't realize he was being stern with my dad. But then my dad turned and I was like, what did he say? And my dad said, he said foreigners love to come here and take pictures of poor Iranians. And I felt horrible because that's not what I was doing. I felt like I took a beautiful picture of him, and it sparked because when you said I don't take pictures of sadness, I don't take pictures of sadness either, but like a picture is a picture. And if somebody gets sad or if somebody gets happy from it, it's that's their interpretation.
Correct.
But that always stuck with me and then from that day, my biggest audience is the person I took a picture of. So if I take a picture of somebody, I really want that person to see it.
To have it, right?
Yeah. I don't want to steal. I don't want to take a picture of somebody. Yeah. I want to give a picture.
Okay. Sonny, you say this because this actually happens a lot when I was photographing in Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Many times where they're like, why are you taking pictures of the horrible things of this place? I'm like, I find this beautiful.
Right.
And a buddy of mine literally got into a fist fight with somebody else because some guy was like, he brought the whole community in like it. And I actually have a
Right.
picture of the fight, to be honest. That's
Wow.
crazy. He's like, he's trying to show the world how shitty we live and da da da. And he's like, I'm like, if you think you live in somewhere shitty, that's your problem, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not what we see is beautiful.
Yeah.
And we're the artists. We're the ones who are able to see the beauty in this. You don't see that. What you see is how shitty your life is. That's on you, right? And there's other people who are beside him like, what are you talking about? And then there's, it just all depends. But there's the amount of arguments where we're getting with people like, why are you taking pictures of this? I'm like, I don't do that. I don't take pictures of things that I do, but like, this is like, I remember her, I think there was a dog in the area. It was just like, just like, just a random dog in the street, right? Yeah. A stray dog. And he's like, why are you taking a picture of the stray dog? This is pretty. But they're like, but it's by itself. I'm like, why didn't you take care of it? You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah.
Don't get mad at something that you could have taken care of. I just found it interesting. That's all. It's just, I understand what you've been through because that's exactly what happens in my home country as well.
Yeah.
And they're also very paranoid too. They're very paranoid about who's taking photos. Like every time I would end up in an area, who do you work for? Why are you here? What are you doing? I'm just like taking care. And I'm very glad I speak the language because all I say, I just like taking pictures. I'm like, and then they kind of leave me alone after that.
Yeah.
But if I come in and I say something and like, I think one time I said, oh, I'm an artist. And they were also like, oh, what kind of art do you do? You know what I mean? They were still trying to get into why I was doing what I was doing. So yeah, I get it.
I mean, I understand that, like, you don't want to feel exploited, but like, there's also the other side of like I actually came here, like I'm here and I'm just doing what I would normally do.
Yeah.
So I do believe that, they're entitled an explanation because I feel like a lot of times I think that explanation can turn into a beautiful relationship, because that has happened to me in other places where that person then grabs me by the hand and says, okay, you need to see this, or you need to meet this guy.
No, it didn't happen in our state. If anything, the guy kept trying to attack us even more.
Right.
After we even calmed that whole situation down with like 30 people, he came and still found us. He wanted us to delete the photo. And we're like, he didn't even have a photo. That's the crazy part.
Right.
He didn't even have the shot.
Yeah.
But he still wanted to come fight him after everyone calmed him down. It didn't matter. Like, but I get what you're saying. Like, it's great. That would be lovely if that happened. It'd be lovely if that freaking happened.
Yeah.
But places like Morocco, I know they hate it. No, they hate being taken photos of. They hate it.
So I got to ask this question just because everybody's freaking out about it. How do you feel about AI?
How do I feel about it?
Yeah. Are you threatened by it? Or all these creatives are so threatened by it.
No, I mean, is AI going to take pictures of proposals? No, I don't feel threatened by it. No. And if anything, this is what I always been telling people in the last couple of years. I said, AI is actually going to free us from all the bull crap that the computers got us into.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll start doing its own thing.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
So let's go back to the times where, before email came into marketing on the internet, making videos for this, it's just like all these little things that we had to do to make our online presence amazing.
Yeah.
But it can do it for us.
Yeah.
It could write an email for me if I needed to write an email. It can make me a marketing thing for me. But these are those little annoying things that we had to do when we put this stupid little machine in front of us.
Yep.
To get us, and then all these new jobs and of course this is the problem. Like all those jobs that started back in the day with web developer and that's going to go.
Yeah.
Yes, it's going to go.
Yeah.
But it's going to free us now we get to go back to the time before computers.
Right.
And that sounds crazy, but
I understand what you mean.
it's going to allow us to live up. I'm hoping it's going to get worse. It's going to get way worse before it gets better.
Right.
And I think it's gonna take its time to do so. And there's gonna be loss of jobs, loss of whatever. But these jobs are, again, ones that people have with computers.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But the electrician, he's got his job.
Yeah.
Carpenter still, he has his job.
Yeah.
All these tradesmen have their jobs. Like, they're never gonna go anywhere. The photographers, it's still art.
Still art. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that recently, what was it? Apple did that whole thing with that logo, with their new logo that they just did.
Mm-hmm.
None of that was AI.
Right.
And so these are these things that people still want to hire artists for doing what they're going to do. And there's going to be people who still want to make money. And that's another thing too, like the American of scaling and getting higher and so on and so on. Yeah, that's gonna take it to another level. But
Yeah.
it's going to be a lot of loss of jobs and so on and so on. But I think at the end, and I don't know if we're going to be alive for it or not, but when that happens, I think the world will be a better place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me personally, AI has really enhanced everything I do because it takes out, like, like you said, like writing copy, and I put out a book, and I had the ideas, but I needed to help formulate the the paragraphs and everything, and just it just helped me out.
Yeah.
In every sense. I mean, this application, like this, the AI is incredible. The only thing that freaks me out about AI is who's in control of it towards
Yes.
the
That's
end.
that is yes. That is the big problem.
But as
That
far
is
as
the biggest problem.
creatively,
That's why I'm really happy to that's why I'm very happy that ChatGPT or OpenAI is no longer the only one.
Yeah.
And now there's Claude and there's Anthropic, you know what I mean? There's Gemini, and there's all these other, language models that are even better. But like the one that rules them all is no longer a thing, which I'm very happy to hear, because I believe that Anthropic recently did not sign to take on these, had to deal with the military, and they were trying to get them to sign this thing to, allow them to get whatever access they did.
They
And
didn't want them to use their AI to kill people.
correct. And Anthropic said no, but
Seems reasonable.
but OpenAI agreed.
Yeah.
Even though they say it's under our clause, we're not doing so. But come on,
Yeah. Yeah.
like you already signed with them. They could have gone back to Anthropic if they wanted to, but they didn't, right?
Yeah.
They went to somebody else, maybe because there's something that you allowed, even though you're saying you're not going to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like how your phone, even though you turn off your location, it's still following you.
Yeah.
So it is an issue to see, and hopefully it gets smart enough to do its own thing, as long as it doesn't destroy us, But yeah, that's always I mean, at the end of the day, we don't want it to turn into Terminator. You know what I mean? We don't want to get to that point, but hopefully it will be a beautiful thing, not a something that would destroy us. Let's put it that way. Yeah, and turning into the Matrix would be crazy. Yeah.
So to wrap this up, I'm gonna do a new thing. I don't know if it's gonna work out or not, but shoot wisely comes from my brother, who's not with us anymore. But he always told me, "Man, shoot wisely." And one time he wrote it down, and I found it. I found the piece of paper. Whatever.
Really?
Whenever I found it.
Yeah.
So I'm asking my guests now. What is your advice to shoot wisely?
What is my advice to shoot wisely?
Or how would you interpret that? Not coming from my brother, but just
so even in my even in the TED Talk thing, and even what it is that shoot with love, man. Go out there and have an understanding of where you are. Be in the moment. Be present. Slow down. That is what shooting wisely is, in my opinion.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, bro.
Is there anything else you want to add, or anything else you want to touch on before we?
No, we did good, man. That was great for an hour. It was wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
It was good. We had a good
Tony,
time.
I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man. Glad to be back. Nice to see you.
Yeah, I appreciate the push, and I appreciate the inspiration, and just always reminding me that that this was something that I needed to continue, and here we are.
Yes. I'm glad. Very
And
happy.
I look forward to that. I think that the what are you calling it? The dinners?
We don't know yet. Each one's going to have a name. So they're immersive experiences. We haven't really come up with, I guess, a beloved experience. Who knows? I don't know. I didn't think about it yet.
Yeah, that's such a great name, Be Loveful. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations. I think it's an amazing idea. I think it can go so many different directions. I think it could even be like a series, like a documented series that can go on and on. I mean, it's kind of endless.
Yeah.
With the music, with the food, with the imagery, and even like, with my head thinking the media wise, like the build up to it would be such an amazing
That's the plan.
story.
We're hoping to get like once. I believe there's going to be a what's it called? A press release, and then we're going to go on the news with the chef, and it's a whole thing. So hopefully that happens, and that's where all that marketing will take place, I guess. And yes, it'd be wonderful if this turns into a thing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, brother.
If you found this episode inspiring, please subscribe, like, leave a comment, and if you know someone that would find this conversation useful, please share. Your support is greatly appreciated as we build the Shoot Wisely community. Thank you for listening to the Shoot Wisely podcast. I'm your host, Amir Brahimi.